You hear that? The Atlanta Falcons just received a triple dose of good news, and it comes after the hiring of Kevin Stefanski as their new head coach. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what the good news is, why it matters, and why Falcons fans should actually be excited about the direction that this team is headed for the first time in a long time. Now, for anybody who missed it or anybody not paying attention, the Atlanta Falcons have officially hired Kevin Stefanski as their next head coach. And this is not the huge moves that I'm talking about, but it was a huge move. But it was also followed by things where it's very interesting. So let's get into it right now. Good news number one, per Ian Rappaport earlier today, the Falcons are expected to retain defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. And that is massive. Because, let's be real for a second, this defense was the backbone of the Falcons team all season long. Top tier in sacks, multiple rookie pass rushers showing out, Xavier Watts developing into a legit playmaker. You can't forget about Billy Bowman doing his thing, Ruka Roro, Brandon Dorless. This team was good. This defense was good. And the Falcons defense kept this team in games even when the offense was struggling all year, thanks Zach Robinson. Jeff Ulbrich was a huge reason for this defense dominating all season. So keeping that continuity on defense, keeping that same scheme, keeping that same voice in the locker room, that is a major win for Atlanta. You don't blow up one side of the ball that was actually working. So shout out to the Falcons for getting that right, and shout out to Kevin Stefanski for realizing, hey, we might have something good here. Let's not mess with it. Now, good news number two, Bill Callahan is likely coming with Kevin Stefanski. Now, this one might actually be the best piece of news so far. Now, with Kevin Stefanski coming in, it's expected that Bill Callahan could be joining him in Atlanta as the offensive line coach. And look, I will say this. I really do like Dwayne Ledford. He is probably one of the top coaches at his game at the position. But Bill Callahan, that is the gold standard of offensive line coaching in the NFL. This is the guy who developed some of the nastiest offensive lines we've seen in the league. And he literally invented some new form of training offensive linemen with this beast of a behemoth of an offensive line sled. I know you've all seen this viral sled drill and this viral sled. Yeah, that was Bill Callahan who invented this massive sled. And if you're talking about protecting Michael Penix Jr., if you're talking about building a physical offensive line, and if you're talking about fixing this run game, this is exactly the kind of coach you want in your building. This is not a small upgrade. This is a massive upgrade. Shout out to Kevin Stefanski. Not only did he retain Jeff Ulbrich, but he's bringing in Bill Callahan. I would say that's 2 for 2 so far. Now, for some reason, this good news number three, this is low-key flying completely under the radar. But since Jeff Ulbrich is staying, that likely means that defensive line coach Nate Ollie stays as well. And that's the third big news. Nate Ollie back as the defensive line coach. And I really don't think people understand how big this is. Look at the development we saw this year. Ruka Roro, Brandon Dorless, Zion Logue, Zach Harrison. All of those guys took steps forward. All of those became real contributors. That doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen by just throwing them out there and seeing they can do it. That's coaching, that's development, that's having the right teachers in the room. So keeping Nate Ollie on the staff while continuing to develop this young defensive front, that is huge for the long-term future of this defense. So let me recap this whole thing really quick. The Falcons just didn't hire Kevin Stefanski. They also somehow kept Jeff Ulbrich as their defensive coordinator, landed Bill Callahan to help this offensive line, and retained Nate Ollie to keep developing this defensive front. That is how you build a really good coaching staff. That's also how you build real continuity, and that's how you set your young quarterback and your young defensive line and your young offensive groups to grow in the future. And for the first time in a while, it looks like it's a legit good plan for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of moves to be made, and some people are not gung-ho over the offensive coordinator hire and potential hire in Tommy Rees. But I will say this. Pump your brakes. We got to see what happens to the roster. We still got to see how this draft goes. But from a coaching infrastructure standpoint, the Falcons are off to a fantastic start. And that matters because teams are built from the trenches up. And it seems like the Atlanta Falcons are not only addressing that, but also moving and creating a plan that develops the trenches to help this team all over the field. But if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And if you want to see more videos like this, check this one out right here. And like always, peace.